"12 hours in the life of the Speedway." It's an interesting perspective.
Sure is. You're watching the 2014 Krikke Boys Shootout preview show. We're just a week out from the big race.
Well, Quitbunbury Speedway has been welcoming American race car drivers here since the early 70s, so the competition between the Aussies and the Yanks goes back a long way.
And one driver who understands the rivalry better than most is five-time Australian sprint car champion Brooke Tatnell. We caught up with him earlier this season.
That race car is my office. Once you get to that 3:30 mark when you're on your way to the racetrack, and that's when you start to focus. You're just basically making sure your mindset is that we're here to win.
Brooke Tatnell showing him how it's done in Bunbury. 24 hours before winning this heat, he was still on a plane on his way to Australia.
No, I've been doing this for too long to worry about jet lag.
The subtle American twang might give it away, but for the last 10 years, this 5-time Australian sprint car champion has found a home away from home in the US of A.
I think the best way of putting it, everyone loves an Australian, but they don't love an Australian in an American ride.
When Krikke Motorsport's regular driver Tim Kading got the unexpected call-up to head to America at the start of the season, Tatnell stepped in.
We came up to a quick agreement and here he comes, so it's going to be great to have him back out for the Krikke Boys.
Coming back here, it's just good to be home.
The team's gruelling World Series sprint car commitments have taken them all over Australia. But in a week, they'll be back at their home track with their eyes on the prize.
Krikke Boys race is something that's near and dear to our hearts, not only for the boys but also for the Krikke family.
Robbie Farr bagged the first Shootout championship for KMS back in 2003. Their defending champ is Tim Kading, who wowed the crowd last year with his victory show. But after parting ways with Krikke Motorsport, in a bit of a twist, TK, as he's known, has been able to free up his schedule and will be back in Bunbury for the Krikke Boys Shootout, also racing for KMS.
Everyone knows him as TK because he's not that smart. I'm not even sure if you could spell Tim.
So, next week, 2 champions go head-to-head, chasing victory for a team, history for themselves.
Both the guys will have the best of the best at their disposal, and hopefully at the end of the weekend we're sitting on top of the tree there somewhere and not the 2 cars smashed up in a pile together.
Question is, if Brooke Tatnell gets across the line first, is that a win for the Aussies or the Americans?
It's definitely an Aussie victory, trust me. We're true blue Aussies, and this is why we want it so bad.
After ending their mediocre 2012-13 season with an emotional win at the Shootout, KMS have labelled this year their year of redemption. Their star pilot is a big part of that. He's even bagged them a new WA sprint car title. But Dylan Buswell is the man who gives Brooke Tatnell his wings.
Some people don't understand, at the racetrack, where me or a driver is a little intense, but that's my job and that's what I work towards.
At 22, Dylan's young to be a crew chief. It's a big responsibility, but it's all he's ever wanted to do.
I grew up around the sport, and ever since I can remember, my dad was a crew chief, and he was kind of my idol growing up.
On any race team, the crew chief plays as big a role as the driver, just behind the scenes.
The relationship between a driver and crew chief and crew and car owner is very important. It's as important as what your marriage is.
This is the Krikke Motorsports trailer. It's not your average man cave. Here, you could practically eat off the floor.
You walk into, 75% of the trailers in the pit area and they look like this. So, it's just kind of where the sport's at now.
Next weekend will probably be the most intense of Dylan's career so far, calling the shots for defending champs KMS and looking after not one, but 2 big-name drivers.
It's going to be a lot of work, yeah. Looking forward to it.
So Shane Krikke's KMS team is in a pretty strong position there, with 2 top contenders for the title.
Well, it'll certainly make things very entertaining for all the fans. Now, to the special role that women play in this sport, not always front and centre, in fact mostly behind the scenes, but could the blokes do it without them? I don't think so.
Perth Motorplex, March 2012, the final lap of the WA Sprint Car Championship.
He came in between Shane Stewart and the fence, and it was like, oh my God, is he going to crash or is he going to make it? And it was like, thank you. He made it and it was like, it was amazing.
Val's been a lot more involved, I guess, since Jason raced.
Kick butt.
Before that, of course, I was racing in supercars and boats and all kinds of things, and Val was always there to support me. But since Jason's been racing, well, she stepped that up a notch.
Yeah, I've been known to get a bit excited and loud at the races. I love it when he wins.
But like any sport, for every exhilarating high, there's often a heartbreaking low.
Sometimes you go home and you've had your butt kicked in at the races and she dusts you off and it's no problem, there's another day.
Aside from moral support, Val's also in charge of fuel. For the crew, that is.
I like to get wholemeal because they're healthier. Jason's an elite athlete and he needs to eat well to keep his body healthy, and he works out and tries to keep fit.
The new and improved facilities have probably helped, but in the last 5 years or so, Quitbunbury Speedway has become so popular with women that a new commentator has been welcomed onto the team.
So, if you've just joined us, welcome along.
Sprint car drivers put on a great show, but it's easy to forget that among the thousands of spectators every weekend are mums, wives, sisters and girlfriends, all with their hearts in their mouths, and probably none more so than Stacey Minchin.
I watched him on his first meeting and I've told him I can't watch him anymore after that. It's just too scary.
Stacey's son Brody is only 16. This is his rookie season.
She gets pretty scared. I guess that's just what mothers do, really.
Up next, from this to this, building a shootout sprint car from scratch.
And the custodians of the clay, 3 blokes who give us the gift of the speedway.